Oh dear. So Daredevil Born Again is now not part of the MCU. So Daredevil Born Again has been born again to now be born again. Oh, what a total joke this series has become. And FYI, I actually think this is the right way to go with a lot of this stuff with Marvel. The interconnected nature of all of these things. It was a good experiment. It's ran its course now. Too many series just become a bit of a nightmare to connect it all. No one wants to watch a series, or no one wants to feel like they have to watch a series to understand a movie moving forwards. There's loads of reasons why, you know, this experiment of interconnected universe has just sort of fallen on its arse. So I think this is a good thing, but it's still funny overall. But I'm not going to rag on them too much, because I would see this, hopefully, as the beginning of something positive with respect to Marvel. But it is funny that they flip-flop so much, right? That's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. So Daredevil Born Again is out of MCU. It's part of Marvel's Spotlight brand. Now, we don't really know what that means, like, in actuality. I'm sure it's still probably part of the MCU. I'm sure it'll still probably reference some bits. I mean, it has to, right? Can't imagine them doing a series and not referencing anything. That'd be really odd to me. That'd be really odd. So this is also in conjunction with the Echo series. Now maybe this is a way that they're just going to make it really hardcore. Who knows? But it is learned that Daredevil Born Again is out of the MCU and instead, similar to Echo, has been relegated to that new Marvel Spotlight brand on Disney+. This is from the Kingpin himself, Vincent D'Onofrio, actually. So the actor said that Daredevil Born Again will, quote, for sure be under the Marvel Spotlight banner. It's the same tone and feel as Echo. The attention that the bosses are giving to it is extraordinary, said the actor via Twitter. Now, Marvel Spotlight, for those that weren't aware, because I wasn't even aware of this, it's a new brand that doesn't focus on the larger MCU continuity. So, you know, it's still part of the MCU, but it's not. You know what? Very much the same as the Netflix stuff. Very, very much the same. Which, you know, when you're looking at it like this, you just go, why don't you bloody keep it going then? Why don't you just keep that series going, you dunces? We know why. Money. I mean, this is just a recreation of that. So Marvel first announced the brand last month with news of the Echo January premiere. And this is what they said, for those that aren't aware of what it is. Just like comic fans didn't need to read Avengers or Fantastic Four to enjoy a Ghost Rider Spotlight comic, our audience doesn't need to have seen other Marvel series to understand what's happening in Maya's story, said Brand Winderbaum, head of streaming, television and animation at Marvel Studios. So again, the question is always, why don't you just keep the Netflix stuff going? I mean, you bought it outright, you could have just kept it going apparently. So, dear oh dear. So, there's no need to watch Hawkeye or She-Hulk, apparently. In regards to Echo, that sounds like fans don't have to watch the Hawkeye series, which seems weird, you know, because basically Echo appeared in Hawkeye, right? But Daredevil made his MCU debut in She-Hulk. So people don't need to watch that to understand who... I mean, is that not going to be referenced? What a total shit show. This really is. Total mess. You know, this is a mess when you're looking at it from this perspective. And I think also, so it's important to note, does this now mean that he won't get a movie? Because he was also in one of the Spider-Man movies, right? So, doesn't really make any sense when you start to pass it up with the other iterations of Daredevil currently already in the MCU. It doesn't make any sense at all. Now, insiders tell Cosmic Book News that Marvel was retooling Daredevil Born Again to move it away from the goofy portrayal in She-Hulk to the more popular and violent Netflix series. Now that's been confirmed. So of course it doesn't mean that Daredevil won't be part of the MCU. It means that Daredevil Born Again series is more of a standalone series. And from the sound of it, it won't be attached or referencing anything that has come before in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or obviously the Netflix shows. So is this just going to be his introduction and then we'll get a movie? Who knows? Bizarre. Very, very bizarre. So, yeah, he's not part of the MCU, but the show is. And yet he's already part of the MCU, but his other appearances won't be referenced? Jesus Christ. What a joke. So Kevin Feige fired the original writers and then hired new writers. John Bernthal's supposed to be appearing as well. Now this is what they say of Spotlight, just again for those that are confused, just like I am. The audience members in Oklahoma were also the first to see the new Marvel Spotlight banner with a musical fanfare composed by frequent Marvel collaborator Michael Giacchino. Marvel Spotlight is rooted in Marvel Comics' 85-year publishing history. Spotlight was an anthology comic book series first introduced in 1971 and was the origin of beloved Marvel characters like Ghost Rider and Spider-Woman. Echo will be the first series under the Marvel Spotlight banner, and head of streaming Brad Winderbaum said of the decision to launch a new banner with Echo, Marvel Spotlight gives us a platform to bring more grounded, character-driven stories to the screen. And in the case of Echo, focusing on street-level stakes with a larger MCU continuity. Just like comic fans didn't need to read Avengers, Fantastic Four, Ghost Rider, to enjoy Ghost Rider Spotlight comic, our audience doesn't need to have seen Marvel series to understand what's happening in my story. That doesn't make any sense either, because how are you going to... You don't need to see any other Marvel series to understand what's happening in my story, but she was introduced in Hawkeye. What? So they're just going to do flashbacks or what? Look, I think this is the right direction to not connect stuff all the time, but you've kind of shot yourself in the foot a little bit by some of this stuff, I think. What a shit show. Anyway, let me know what you think down below. Love to hear it. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.